Thanks for coming this morning, everybody. Okay, before we start getting the body moving, we're going to do some pranayama to really get to wake ourselves up a little bit. So let's take Surya Mudra. You're going to take your thumb and your ring fingers, fold in. Your thumb covers the fingernail on your ring finger, and the hands face forward like so. Yeah, so Surya Mudra. This is very solar energy, and since we're nearing the solstice, why not tap into that bright, brilliant light and train with that? Pull that light into ourselves, and doing this mudra and doing this prana helps us with that, right? So a little breath of fire as we're holding Surya Mudra, in and out through the nose, fairly shallow, fairly rapidly. Okay, here we go. All right, let's go ahead and release. Let your hands come to your knees, and we'll do a few rounds of full deep inhales and equally long exhales at whatever pace works for you. Think of your breath as being concentric while you breathe, so that there's a sense of the front body expanding, but there's also breath moving in the back body. It's not all just front body moving in and out, right? Okay, and then we're going to do a little seated cat and cow. So taking your hands to your knees, we're going to do this a little more rapidly. So we're not going to do this really slowly. We're going to do this with the breath. Again, just kind of like we were, not as fast as breath of fire, but somewhat more rapid than we would normally do. So it would look like this. Right? Get the idea? Okay. So when you're inhaling, heart comes forward, shoulders back. When you're exhaling, round into your back, tuck your chin, right? Okay. Empty out the breath. Here we go. All right, and release that end of your exhale. Come back to a nice upright seat. And again, elongate the inhale and exhale. Couple more of those deep breaths. All right. And now we're going to do the one where we bring the fingertips to the shoulders and we twist, right? So we're going to inhale looking to the left, and exhale, looking to the right. All right, when you're ready. And release. Hands to the legs, inhaling and exhaling fully and evenly. Okay. And fingertips back to the shoulders. We'll inhale, looking to the right, and exhale, looking to the left. Here we go. And release. One last time, big, full, deep inhales and exhales. One more deep round. All right, and here we go. So we'll start to move the body just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and come on up to standing. And since we've been seated for a while, let's just tap ourselves from the feet to the head. So start tapping tops of the feet, ankles, shins, calves, knees, thighs, up and down, hamstrings, belly, sides of the hips and booty, lower back, lower ribs, side ribs. Pretend you're taking a shower and tap underneath your left armpit here. And switch sides. Here we go, tap the chest. Make a little sound. Tap the left traps. And down the arm. Up the arm. And the right traps. And down the arm, and up the arm, and then drop your head and tap the back of your head, your skull at the occiput here, the back of the neck. Feeling if there's any tenderness there, anything that just feels like, something's been going on back there. And then lifting your head upright, tap the sides of your head by the temples. Tap your face, third eye, forehead. Tap it around the temples and underneath the eyes, above the cheekbones. And get the hollows of the cheeks and the jaw hinge, down to the chin. And then tap the very top of the head. And just move the tapping down towards your ears, and then walk it back up to the top of the head, and tap it down behind the ears, and walk it back up to the top of the head, and all the way down the center of the back of the head, and release your arms. And just stand in kind of just a normal upright position, not trying too hard to make it into a perfect Tadasana or any of that. Notice the natural position of your stance now, especially in terms of where is your rib cage in relationship to your pelvis. So after many, many years of yoga, we may find ourselves having tried really hard for a long time to pull the shoulders back and the heart forward so that we end up exaggerating the back bend and the chest is here, but the hips are here. So we want to try to center the rib cage. That's why all this instruction that I give pretty frequently about dropping the low ribs helps to center the rib cage. And when we're centering the diaphragms of the body from the pelvic floor to the diaphragm proper to the throat, we want all three of those domes to be stacked on top of each other. And that is really going to help us to maintain integrity in the pelvic floor. So as we come to stand in our mountain pose now, just check out your foundation. Make sure you have a little space between your toes. And again, trying to keep this sense of the rib cage centered in the body. Let's just inhale and move the arms up. And exhale and bring the arms down. And inhale and take the arms up. And exhale and bring the arms down. We're not forward folding quite yet. We're just taking the arms up and down. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, bring the arms down. Notice what your ribs do when you take the arms up. It's perfectly natural for the rib cage to lift when you take the arms up. It feels good. We just don't want to keep it there all the time, right? Okay, so arms back up. Take a hold of your left wrist and tip yourself to the right. So let's start to open up the side bodies a little bit. Hug your feet isometrically towards your midline. And come back to center and take a hold of your right wrist. Pull up first and then tip over to the left. Breathing. And coming back to center. Great, now let's take a forward fold. So take a nice slow swan dive to Uttanasana. Let your head relax as much as possible. Inhale, lengthen halfway forward for Ardha. And exhale and fold in. And let's come back up to standing. Inhale, reaching the arms out and up until they come up and overhead. And then exhale, we'll take another half sun salutation. So coming forward slowly, swan diving into Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway forward with a long spine for Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale and fold in. Let's come back up to standing. We'll do one more of those. Inhaling, arms out and up. And exhale, one last slow swan dive into a forward fold here. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale and fold in. All right, so just hang out here in your forward fold for a few moments. Feel free to bend your legs as you wish. Maybe you just shift from foot to foot, bending one knee versus the other. Maybe both knees stay bent at this point for you, but just bring a little bit of movement into it and get a little traction for the neck as you're just kind of hanging in the forward fold, as long as you know that this serves your back well. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and step right back into a lunge with the right foot. So finding just a high lunge, finding the outer form and shape of the pose. And then step your back foot forward again. And step your left foot back. Coming into your high lunge. Just finding the shape of the pose. And then step your left foot forward. And step your right foot back again. Back into your high lunge here. And step your right foot forward. And step your left foot back. And then set your left knee down on the floor and bring yourself to a tabletop. So just coming onto your hands and your knees. We're going to move the spine around in a circle here. So you can just move the hips out to the left and then out to the right. And feel your side ribs kind of move along with that. So we're moving around here. And you're shifting your body weight kind of forward and back as well. Right? So feeling that shift, almost like you're going toward low plank and toward a child's pose as you're circling yourself around. And then come back to a nice tabletop. Walk your hands forward 5 or 6 inches. And then we're going to resume that action and take it a little bit deeper. Into a little bit more of a child's pose, into a low plank with a little bit of circular movement. Just waking up everything. Now the next time you come forward and you're in a low plank on your knees, hang out there for a moment or two. Hug your knees isometrically towards your midline. And then push your inner thighs up toward the ceiling, like you're trying to exaggerate your lower back arch. And then pull your low belly in and up and press your low ribs down like you're doing an abdominal crunch. Now, while you got all that going on, can you lower the hips just a little bit without getting a back bend again showing up in the low back? So lots of strength in the abdominal muscles here right now. Now keep all that and pick your feet up. Notice if you lifted your hips up a little higher, and see if you can actually drop the hips but keep that abdominal work going. You still got that crunch going on. All right, and then go ahead and lower all the way down to your belly. Cross your hands, rest your chin on your hands, and then just circle your feet around. Relax your legs a little bit here. We'll do some reverse windshield wiping, just dropping the legs from side to side. All right, and then release, bringing the legs down to the floor. Prop up into a Sphinx position here. And in your Sphinx, knees are pressing down into the floor. Pull your low belly in and up, pull the forearms back. Now in our Sphinx pose, we are lifting the ribs, pulling the ribs forward, pulling the shoulders back. But you can bring some abdominal integrity into it as you're doing that, which may or may not be your habit at this point. Now maybe you press into the hands, lift the elbows, and pull back on the hands isometrically to curl that back bend a little bit further up in the spine. And then lower down, hands alongside of the chest, and press up to downward facing dog. Oh yeah, down dog. Feels so good. Shifting the weight a little bit from side to side as you just feel into it, letting your body kind of enjoy the shape. How many years has this been kind of your staple home-based pose in our practice, you know? All right, let's lift the right leg, bend the knee, open up through the hip. Shoulders square to the floor. Exhale, bringing your right foot forward into your lunge legs. Come on up to crescent lunge this time. Arms up. And then bring the hands right down to the floor and step to plank. Lower down to your belly. And we'll come into cobra. And back up to down dog. Check in with yourself, check in with your breath. Let's lift the left leg, bending the knee, opening up through the hip, shoulders square to the floor. On your exhale, bring your left foot forward, find your lunge legs, come on up to crescent lunge. Just a moment or two. And bring the hands down, plank pose. Lower down to your belly. And take a cobra. Back to downward dog. Couple of nice deep rounds of breath. Let's lift that right leg again, bending the knee, opening up through the hip. Again, shoulders square to the floor. Now roll up and down on the ball of that left foot, and then maybe you can root that left heel down a little closer to the floor. And come back up. And root that heel back down. All right, on your next exhale, bring your right foot forward again, back into a lunge. Come back up to crescent lunge. Now we're going to bend the back knee, but try to keep your front leg just as it is. And lower down your left knee, lower it down, and just hover above the floor. Drawing your tailbone underneath you. And then lift it back up, coming back to your crescent lunge. Push through your back heel and lengthen that back leg out. And release, hands to the floor. Plank pose. And just be in your plank, breathing with it. Concentric breath, front and back of the body. Let's lower down. Cobra pose. And lower down, let's come to Shalabhasana, hands behind you in a clasp. Or they can be just alongside of the body if that's a better choice. Lift up through your chest, reach back through the hands. Keep the feet on the floor if you can. Pressing the pubis down into the mat. And release, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Couple of nice deep rounds of breath. All right, let's lift the left leg, bend the knee, open up the hip. Shoulders square to the floor. Then we'll roll up and down on the right foot a little bit. So roll up onto the ball of the foot. Maybe press the heel down toward the floor. Maybe it doesn't go all the way. Maybe it just doesn't quite feel safe. So you choose as you move up and down on that right foot what feels best to you. All right, let's go ahead and swing that left foot forward, finding your lunge legs again. Come up to crescent lunge. Pull your low belly in and up and try to keep your front leg pretty stable. And just start to bend your back knee and bring it down and just hover it above the floor. Pulling your belly in and up, working your left glutes underneath you. And then lift and straighten the right leg, pushing through the heel, lengthening that leg out. And release the hands to the floor. Plank pose. Come down to your forearms. Hands in prayer. So you have a dolphin configuration in the arms. And then set the knees down, point the toes, and make it a sphinx. And lower down, slide the hands alongside of the chest, keep the shoulder heads lifted, come back up to down dog. The end of your exhale, hop or step your feet to your hands, bowing forward for Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway forward for Ardha, and exhale and fold in. Let's come back up to standing, inhaling arms out and up and overhead, palms together. Slide your hands to heart center and just take a note of how you feel. This has been a nice kind of slow crescendo to get to the point where we are. How does that feel for your body? Hopefully it feels really good, because sometimes the warm up, in the body, especially in the morning, sometimes it just takes a little bit more time. You don't want to necessarily get thrown right into the fire, All right, so we're going to do a set of sun salutations a little bit more quickly here. So hands to heart center. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, release the arms down. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, chair pose, bend your knees. Utkatasana. Weight in the heels. Come back up to standing. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale and fold in. Bend your knees, step to plank. Take a vinyasa. And find a down dog. Lift the right leg, keeping the leg straight this time. Exhale, bring your right foot forward, find your lunge. Come on up to crescent lunge. Spin the back heel down for warrior two. Lean forward onto your right leg for side angle stretch. Spin the hands down to the floor, picking up the back heel, and find your way into revolved side angle or prayer twist here. Hands to the floor, plank pose. Take a vinyasa. You can always modify those. Downward facing dog. Couple deep rounds of breath. Let's lift the left leg, keeping the leg straight this time, spreading the toes. The hip still opens, but you keep the leg straight and the right shoulder steadfast. Exhale and bring left foot forward. Come on up to crescent lunge. Spin the back heel down for warrior two. Lean forward over the left leg for side angle stretch. Spin the hands down to the floor, pick up the back heel, and twisted side angle or prayer twist. And hands to the floor. Plank pose. You can set your knees down, or you can take the full vinyasa with knees up, whatever you feel. And back to downward facing dog. Hop or step your feet to your hands. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway forward for Ardha. And exhale, folding in. Let's come up to standing. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. All right, bringing the hands together over your head. We're going to do a little bit of balance. Interlace your hands. I know you can't see my hands, but interlace your hands. Shift your weight to your right foot. And then bring your left knee up, fixing your gaze, and bring your hands down to touch the top of your leg. So your hands are going to press down against your left thigh, and your left leg is going to press up against your hands. Hold it there. And then set the foot down and take your arms back up and over your head. Same thing, other side, so balance on your left foot. Fix your gaze, bring your right knee up, take the hands to the top of the thigh, and press the right thigh up as the hands press down. Engage your abdomen as you're doing this. And then set the foot down, take the arms back up. And then we're going to come right into chair pose, bend the knees, sit back, arms up alongside of the ears. Then take your arms into more of a cactus position and really pull the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in toward your spine. Work those muscles. And then take your arms, forearms together, hands together. Press your hands and your forearms into one another really strongly. And bring yourself up to standing, but keeping the arms in this position. And now we're going to take the arms into eagle. So cross the right elbow over the left and intertwine your arms. Bend your knees. Shift your weight to your right foot and cross your left knee over your right to balance here. So coming into an eagle stance. Hug the legs and arms into one another. See if you can sit back a little further and a little deeper in your eagle's nest, even if it means that your foot comes a little bit undone from the back of the opposite shin there. Now unwrap your arms and your legs and tip forward to take your left leg up in the air for a standing split. You can keep both hands on the floor. Maybe your right hand comes back behind your right leg and gives you a little bit of a purchase so you can come a little closer to the leg. The left hip is open as the left leg is up. And then square the hips and bring your left foot down to the floor. Slowly slide your hands up your shins to your knees. As you come to your skier stance, the head comes up higher than the heart. And just be here for a moment and then come all the way up to standing. Let's bring the arms up into a 90-degree bend. Cross your left elbow over your right, bringing your arms into eagle, Garudasana. Bend your knees. Shift your weight to your left foot, cross your right leg over. Finding your eagle stance, you can stay tall if you like, you can sit deeper if you like. We'll be here for a few moments, and maybe you try both. Pull the arms into one another. See if you can sit back a little deeper. Getting a nice stretch between the shoulder blades. Work those legs, lots and lots and lots of compression. Deep breathing. All right, now unwrap your arms, unwrap your legs. Bring your hands to the floor for a standing split, taking that right leg up, hip open, toes spreading, bowing towards your left leg. If it serves you to take your left hand back behind your left ankle and shin, give you a little bit purchase there to get a little deeper in your forward fold, go for it. If not, fine. And then let's square the hips, turn those right toes toward the floor, set your right foot down for your forward fold. Now bend your knees and we're going to step the feet wide to take a wide stance here. So you might need to turn on your mat wherever you landed there. And then with wide feet, bow forward for Prasarita Padottanasana. Hands come wherever they go. Maybe the top of your head is resting on the floor. Now go ahead and bring the hands to the floor in front of you. Bend your knees and turn the toes out on both of your feet. We'll just start a little baby kind of shift from side to side. Little moving, gentle Skandasana here. So moving the hips a little bit. All right, the next time that you bend into your right knee, walk your hands over to the right. Right hand to the inside of the arch so that the right elbow supports the inner right knee, and maybe you can turn those left toes up. Coming into your Skandasana, deepening the stretch for the inner legs. And then lift it up and shift it over to your left foot. Bending into the left knee, left hand at the arch of the left foot. Use the elbow to keep the knee open as you pick up your right toes. And then lift the hips and come back. Just bringing the feet back to parallel for Prasarita one last time here. Walking the hands through the legs perhaps. Then walk your hands forward again, lifting up your head. Let's turn the feet 90 degrees to the right, coming into a lunge. Set the back knee down, and let's find our way into a pigeon prep. So you can either just walk the right foot over to the left, or you can lift up a little bit, bring that right foot in a little closer to you to find your pigeon prep here. So what works best for your body? Now find your way into your pigeon. You find the position of that front leg according to what works best for you. And then come forward, bowing into it, breathing into your hips a bit. And then lifting up so you can be up on your elbows. Take your weight over to your right forearm and elbow. We're going to bend the left leg to reach back for the left foot. So bending that leg, reach back, pushing the foot into the hand, keeping the weight on that right forearm as you push the foot into the hand, and maybe you bring your left heel in a little closer to your left hip. As you're doing that, isometrically pull your right hip back a little bit, just so that you have a little bit more sense of the hips being somewhat even with one another from side to side. Feeling that. And then release. Walk the hands in. And let's take a down dog in between sides before we find our way into our pigeon prep with the left knee forward. However you want to get there. You could bring the foot forward. Set the back knee down and enter the same way you did the first go around. Finding your pigeon prep and then coming forward with the left knee forward, however it is that you want to get there. This could also just be an eye of the needle on your back, or you could be sitting over on your left hip for a deer pose, if that's just a better thing for you, for your knees. And breathing into this pigeon or your pigeon variation. All right, and then lifting the head, we'll come up onto the forearms and elbows, shifting the weight onto the left forearm and elbow. Reach back for your right foot with your right hand. Push the foot into the hand as you feel into your thigh stretch here. Even your hips up a little bit, and maybe you can bring the right heel in a little closer to the outer right hip. Breathing with that stretch. Ujjayi breath, if it serves you. And then releasing the back foot. We'll find our way to downward facing dog. All right, let's lift the right leg. Keep the leg straight. Again, turn the leg open and reach those pinky toes on that right foot up toward the ceiling. Now try to keep your arms equally straight and strong and take your right leg out to the right, perpendicular to your mat. Woo. And then set your right foot down. Let's lift the left leg. Keep the leg straight as you lift it, turning the hip open. Try to square your shoulders to the floor. Keep your shoulders equally lifted as you take your left leg out, perpendicular to the edge of the mat. It's a piece of work to hold the weight of that leg out there. And then set your left foot down. Let's lift the right leg again. This time on your exhale, just bring it forward, come back into that lunge position, set your back knee down. We're going to come back into pigeon prep here, or again, if it's better for you to come into deer pose, you'll just sit over on your right hip, or you come back into your pigeon prep. Coming forward one more time. See how your pigeon feels at this point. Is there any adjustment that needs to be made here? All right, now lifting yourself up, come up onto your hands this time, not to the forearms. And we're going to reach back for that left foot again with the left hand. And then we're going to take the right hand and reach it back and see if we can hold on to that foot with both hands. Maybe you hold the ankle or the shin and push your foot into your hands to bring yourself into a more upright position in your spine. So flex your left foot and push your foot back into your hands as you're holding on. Bring yourself into this kind of pigeon back bend here. And then release. Bring both hands down, step back to a down dog. We're going to find our way back into that pigeon prep with the left knee forward. So lift the left leg, come forward any way you like. It can be a lunge, or you just bring the knee forward, setting the back knee down and finding your way into Your pigeon prep with the left knee forward. Come forward, find your full pose here as you bow toward the floor. Maybe bring your head down onto your forearms and hands, or not. Whatever feels like the best expression of this pose for you right now. And there are many that we have explored over the years, so what works best for your body right now? Okay, slowly come on up, this time up onto your hands rather than your elbows. And bend your right leg and reach back for your right ankle or foot with your right hand. Now, can you take your left hand back there as well? Hold on to the foot of the ankle with both hands as you get a little more upright. Hug your knees toward one another, pushing back with your right foot as you have your hands hooked around the ankle or the foot. And then we'll release. Bring the hands down, step to a down dog. A little press through the heels. Set your knees down, come down to your belly. One last pose here. So that was a nice preparation for Dhanurasana. So bend your knees, take a hold of both feet. Flexing the feet, come on up into your bow. And release. Come down and have a rest. Relax everything. And feel your heart beating underneath you. Feel yourself being breathed. Okay, let's roll over onto our backs. Now just draw your knees in toward yourself and just give yourself a little side to side roll on your back. Probably feels nice after the back bend. Okay, so keep a hold of your right knee, take your left leg down to the floor, and find a mountain pose leg on that left side. Take your right hand underneath your right knee and push your thigh out and forward against your hand. So you've got more of a 90-degree angle in that leg, your hips are a little more square. And then open the right leg out to the right and straighten your right leg. You're going to hold your right leg right where it is with the hand under the thigh, or you can slide the hand up. Maybe it goes underneath your ankle. And you hold the leg there, trying to keep yourself pretty square in the hips and keeping that left thigh as rooted as possible. Now let's bend that right leg and bring it through center. Switch your hands so your left hand comes outside of that right knee and reach your right arm to the right and roll over onto your left hip, taking a nice twist here. Feel free to stay in the twist with a bent knee, or slide your left hand to the inside of your right leg and straighten your right leg here. Breathing with that, trying to keep a sense of squareness in the hips. Now, if you really want to challenge yourself, the right thumb can come into the right hip crease, and the left hand can take a hold of your right big toe. So that thumb presses away from you as your left hand pulls your big toe toward your head. Whew, that's a something, something. At least in my body. If it's not working for you, then obviously bend the knee, hold the leg in a little different way. All right, let's bend the right leg and bring it down to the floor. Bring your left knee in. Take your left hand underneath your left thigh and push the leg out into the hand. Let's open the left leg out to the side now, keeping that right leg grounded in a mountain pose position, and then straightening the left leg. You can support by holding underneath the thigh. Maybe you slide the hand out and you hold the back of your ankle or your shin. Do the best you can to keep your best alignment while keeping your right thigh nicely grounded here. And then we'll bend the left leg and bring it across center. Switch your hands and roll over onto the right hip with that left leg crossing over. I'm about to take that mic out. There we go. Okay. So see what you can do to keep your left shoulder blade on the floor. Maybe you keep your left leg bent and you just support the inside of the leg as you straighten the left leg. Perfectly fine place to stay. We didn't do any triangles or revolved triangles or anything like that today. So, it might be that this feels a little tight. And it might feel like to go to that outer edge of the pose is a little bit much. So maybe staying here is fine. Maybe you want to take that thumb into the hip crease. See if you can take a hold of your left big toe and straighten the leg. I'm just going to kick my microphone if I do that. But then, woo, boy, is it hard to try to get my left shoulder blade closer to the floor. So see if this works for you in whatever capacity or not. Breathing with whatever level of challenge you've chosen for yourself at this particular moment. All right, and then we'll bend that left leg and bring it back to center. Okay, so draw both knees in toward your chest again. Just give yourself a little side-to-side roll. And then set your feet down and take your legs long for Shavasana. And do it mindfully. So when you take your legs out long, just maybe there's a little kind of an inching with the heels. You kind of inch your legs out a little bit longer and then let them go completely. So they're nice and long. And then notice what the residue is left in your neck and your shoulders. Also, chances are that when we come down, if the shoulder blades are kind of spread apart on the back, that you have a lot of weight maybe on the edges of the scapula and the front of the shoulders are coming forward. And so see if you can kind of lift up and walk your shoulder blades a little bit more down underneath you so that you can kind of let the weight be more distributed across the full width of the shoulder blade. taking your arms maybe out into just a gentle T position, or, just 10 to 18 inches away from your torso, the palms up. So what you find here is kind of the classic shape of your Shavasana. And then let go of all effort in your physical body if you can. And relax your facial muscles and let the weight of your head go completely. All right, so gently now bring your awareness back to your body. Letting your breath deepen and checking in with your physical, your mental, and your emotional selves. Having that sense of awareness of how all those things are at this particular moment. What's going on? And when you're ready, take your time to bend your knees and come on back up to a seat. All right. So I send so much deep love and gratitude to all of the teachers and the amazing ways that they come into our lives and tap us on the shoulders or shake us by the lapels. And to each one of you, I'm so grateful to be here with you. Thank you for coming to your mat, coming to your practice. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.